says we're live. We're ticking. Hey, everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Have a seat. There's plenty of room here in the front. There's refreshments in the back of the room. Ah, yes. Oh, I'm getting dings all over the place. Holy crap.
No, not the dings.
Not the dings. Standards and practices is on.
Yeah.
Yes, Standards and practices here listening in. They want us be on our best behavior, and well, quite frankly,
Look at that guy in the back. He's got a donut. Where the heck did you get the donut?
Did you bring enough for everybody?
Come on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm preparing that card for you, Randy.
What?
I'm preparing that card for you.
Oh, okay. Yep. Come on in, everybody. Have a seat. Three of you are here, and somebody out there loves us already. Thank you so much. Come on in. Hello out there in Indie Volt Radio Land. I hope I set that up correctly. I always thought that this one icon when you're setting up on StreamYard meant the radio, but it doesn't. It meant Twitch. So how do we hook the radio up?
The radio's hooked up to an app here on my computer.
Oh, and your computer's always on?
Oh yes.
Okay.
much to the
dismay of your electric bill?
Yeah. Actually, apparently, I got a chart here the other day. I use 60% more power than other homes in my community.
They always say that.
Yeah.
Because I get those too from Con Ed. I think they're all fake. I think they just say that to try to make you, use less energy, so that they don't have to work as hard.
That's not really how that works. They do that so that when you get your bill, you go, well, I use 60% more energy than everybody else in the neighborhood. So I guess I got to pay this big bill. It's all psychological. It's
yeah.
Come on in, everybody. It's another edition of the Breakfast Buzz. We've got friends in the house already. We've got a comment here. Sarah S. is alive this morning. She says, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to everyone except Ben, the retailer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. We love Ben. Come on. Ben wrote us back.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did. We'll cover that today, I think. Will we cover that today, Mr. Varian?
We will.
We will. Sue Cotton wants us to save a cup for her. Our cup is always pouring, as you can tell. That's all that happens. Good morning, sir. Everybody's in the house. We're still expecting more people in. I sent out some invites. I'm not sure if they'll take them. I always send out invites to all these crazy people, hoping that somebody will pop in, and nobody ever does.
Well, it's still somebody's bedtime. Oh, hold on.
It's always somebody's bedtime somewhere.
Yeah. There we go.
Come on in, everybody. It's the Breakfast Buzz. We are going to roll the opening. So if you are just waking up this morning, you might
wash your face, brush your hair.
Yeah, you might want to watch your ears as well. This gets a little loud sometimes. As soon as I find it here, I know it's here. It's always here. Oh, that's not it. There it is. Ready? Here we go. Good morning, everybody. It's the Breakfast Buzz.
Some men aren't looking for anything logical, like money. They can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Good morning to everyone. Come on in.
Hello, everybody. Varian Grant here of Last Call Comics. I've been making comics since 2008. I'm also the founder of Indie Volt Media LLC.
Watch your eyes. I'm going to shut off the coffee.
Oh, here we go.
Be careful.
Visuals. Visuals.
Good morning.
Good morning. And it's a lovely Thursday morning here.
Luke sounds as awake as I feel.
Yeah, man. I've been up for over an hour, and I still was like, geesh.
So you're doing the podcast run. I mean, you're on every podcast. I've been seeing you every podcast so far.
I really am. Last week I did 12. I did 12 in 1 week.
Ew.
And this week I'm up to 8 or 9. Yeah, it's
out to break that record. That's
overexposure.
Nah, we're too little to be overexposed.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
I exposed myself once. It was horrible.
Emily Zelasco is in the house. Comics and Art. Emily, you are always invited in here. Just let me know if you want to come on. I will happily send you a link. We would love to have you on board with us. Not kidding. Just let me know.
Emily is sorely missed from the show. She needs to bring herself back very quickly.
I'm starting to wonder. She just doesn't want to come on.
Yeah. Well,
what did you do, Varian?
It may have been something with, like
it was probably something we all said.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Some people have standards. I figured that out. Come on in, folks. I see you back there. There's room up here in front. Come on.
I have a slight, very quick surprise for everyone.
Uh-oh.
You're not going to show us another wound, are you?
No. Behold.
Hey, buddy.
He's upright.
Yeah, I'm upright, and I'm
We all missed the hat.
Yeah. I don't know how long I'll stay upright because I gotta leave anyway, and I'm totally medicated. But I am upright.
So the disclaimer especially applies today.
Yeah.
And speaking of disclaimer, we probably should run that just so people know.
Yeah.
The opinions expressed in this preceding program are not necessarily those of Indie Volt Media LLC, its staff, contributors, or sponsors. Viewer discretion is advised.
I woke up at 6:45. I had my alarm wake me up, and then I said, "And that was a good effort." And I rolled over went to sleep. And my wife woke me up at 8 o'clock. She says, "Okay, your appointment's at 10. So we're going to get you up." And I'm like, okay. So she gave me medicine, and then she started forcing me to roll over. And luckily I'm round, so rolling isn't really a problem. And I figured, okay, I'm going to pull myself over to this computer. And it's like from the sofa to the computer. It's, it's
2 rolls.
Yeah, it's about 3.5 rolls.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I was able to get up here, and it's hurting, but yeah. So I want everybody to see proof of life. I am alive.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
They didn't hire a voice actor.
Yeah, we're not Weekend at Bernie in this guy. So
Yeah. Hello, Sarah. Sarah
might have spelled high wrong.
Spelled.
No, just kidding.
Yeah. Varian is the other kind of high.
Yeah.
He is both highs.
Randy, I put Ben's question into the overlays just in case I'm not here when.
Just in case something happens.
Yeah.
Because you could fall off that chair at any time.
It could happen.
Emily says, no. I'm never ready to go. I'm just never ready to go live. We'll have to schedule something then. Emily,
Yeah.
We'll have to talk to your people. Have your people contact our people. We'll set up a time.
Yeah. I'm trying to put a new show together on Indie Vault, but the people who I want on the show just won't bite. They're going to though. They're gonna become so desperate. They'll come to me begging to be a part of the show.
Like I said earlier, sometimes some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
Marv V says, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Lunchtime as always, and today is Portuguese stew. How is everybody
that sounds
today?
good.
We're all good.
We're doing good. We're doing good.
Yes, as we say down here,
we're doing good in spite of the week.
Yeah.
In spite of you know what they say down here. They got this thing they say down here in the South. They say we're finer than frog hair split 4 ways.
Oh boy.
I'm like, yeah.
I could see that. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I ate a frog once. Well,
You ate a frog?
Well, it was by mistake. I was told it was chicken, and my mother was like, "Yeah, go ahead, have some chicken."
How did you mistaken frog legs for chicken?
Your
I
mom
thought it was
loves you
chicken.
so
They were
much.
fried. Yeah. They were fried, and I was like,
Oh, it's probably like the bits.
yeah, no.
Like it
yeah.
wasn't on the
Okay.
leg.
All right,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Little
Later
known
on.
fact,
Yeah.
I love frog legs.
Really.
It's like one of my favorite things in the whole world. Yeah. So
Unfortunately, later on, I found that grasshoppers were excellent source of nutrition, as is splitting the back of a frog open and drinking the water out of them.
I've not done that. I'll pass.
That was thanks to military school.
That's not the same as licking one, is it?
No. These are smaller frogs. So you can split the back open, and they have a reservoir of water inside of them, and you can use that to drink if you get water.
That's information you only need if this pandemic gets worse.
Yeah. Well, now you guys all know.
Right.
I should have kept it to myself so I could be hydrated during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Writer Travis Gibb, writing a complete sentence here, says Varian Grant is.
Looks like he's not awake yet either.
Thanks for listening, Travis.
Yeah. Back
Sarah
on camera.
says high times, LOL.
Probably for a limited time. We don't know how long I'll be on camera. Any devil high sailors, hello.
Oh, there it is. Varian Grant is showing his face. So happy.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
Good to know. Good to know, Travis.
I am trying to stay up. I'm medicated, so this may be just. I want to do proof of life. Like I said, I am alive. I have not been weekend at Bernie. I know there was some, with as much dirt that they shovel on Indie Vote. I know that would be next. That's not really Varian. That's a voice actor. They all sound alike.
Oh my!
We spared no expense to hire the finest CG artists.
Yes, yeah. This is like CG. This is a deep fake.
It's a wonder of electronic engineering.
Yeah. We just hired another comic book creator to come in and pose as you.
Exactly. Nine Realms says howdy, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
What's up, Odin?
I could be Terry Huddleston or Mike Watson. You'd never know. You guys could.
could be Tom Huddleston for all.
Yeah. Just do the face different.
Fancy disguise. Absolutely.
Jamal Heigl. Yeah, could be anyone.
Joe Cotton says I'll be part of the show. I'll bring the stinky cheese. That's okay, Joe.
Randy, let's let our guests introduce themselves.
Some people like stinky cheese. Why don't you introduce yourself first?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, we came in. I introduced myself.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. I'm Varian Grant. Everybody loves me.
Okay. Well, I'm Randy Zimmerman. Nobody loves me. No, I am a award-winning independent comics creator, graphic artist, cartoonist, and I've been in this business for a long time. Done just about everything in this business probably everything in this business that you possibly can do. And I also do the Zim Geek YouTube channel here on YouTube, ZIMMGEEK. Check it out. I'm actually putting up new material. And I'm also part of Indie Volt. Today we already have 2 special guests. We have more coming. I know that for a fact. More are on the way. But right now we have a couple of special guests. So Daphne, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Daphne Lage. I'm a cartoonist and the artist for Tall Tales with JD Calderon, who may or may not pop in depending if he's awake enough. You can find my work at talltalesonline.com, and I also have a YouTube channel at Daphne Lage Art.
We're also joined today by marathon runner Luke Stone.
Yes. How are you guys doing today? So, Randy, I'm also an award-winning artist, but I've yet to get my award.
Varian. Really? Oh, that's
nice.
Yeah.
Do we owe him an award?
We do. He won an Art of War.
I did. I won Art of War.
Yeah.
It was a fluke, though. I mean, I'm not even sure. I think,
I am so behind on getting awards out, guys. I'm so behind.
I tease, but yeah, I'm running a marathon right now for this Indiegogo that I'm running for hybrids, and so going pretty good so far. The next physical backer is going to be getting a sketch card in their package that I send out to them. So that's pretty cool. We're sitting at 24, so the 25th backer is going to get something special. You can find me at lukestonestudios.com. Go over to lukestonestudios.com, sign up for the mailing list, check out the Indiegogo link from there, and also all my social media stuff. Twitter, I tweet on the twit, and then the Instagram. Yeah, I do one of those things too. So
Indy Devil says I'm more a breast man both ways. Okay.
Yeah, mine shrunk. Shrunk.
Is that Michael Odin, Nine Realms Comics?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Mike. Yeah.
Mike says he ate a snake once.
Well, I've heard that about him.
That's a really fun story. Yeah.
Did you know that, Lola? Michael Oden enjoys snake.
Snakes. Who said snakes?
Yeah.
What
John
I want to know.
John Celestri says, Good morning, John. We look forward to having you on the
morning,
show
John.
here after your morning walk. Thank you.
Yeah,
John is amazing. You will love John when he comes on. I don't know
Nice.
if you've ever met him before, but
I've not met him. No, I've not met him. I would
He's
like to know
worth
what
hanging
kind
with.
of snake Odin's is Odin's favorite snake. Like, what's his favorite kind of snake to eat?
Yeah, he probably likes boa constrictor.
We're,
Strikes.
we're gonna start a podcast where we all get together and talk weird stories. That's all we do. Not necessarily comics, but just weird stories.
He strikes me as a python man.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think Florida has such a problem with boa constrictors. They're actually trying to get people to eat them.
They taste pretty good.
See, delicious boa constrictor. Lola's a big snake fan, so right now she's just calling us all mean.
If you're Karen Dixon, it's a bad thing every day, and that's a good thing. Indy Devil, I'm sure that's just some inside talk.
I'm
not privy to.
I'm not awake enough to get that one.
Yeah.
Mar V, to jump into the questions already from the chat. This is a question for Luke as a pastor.
Yeah.
Not pasture.
Pastor.
Pastor. Did you felt some negativity from the people of the church because of your comic? Is all about Sons of the Fallen.
Actually, no. They the conversations about that book and kind of that particular verse that inspired that research. People find it more interesting than anything. And even though it's about the Sons of the Fallen, it's still a story of redemption. And we have some heroes in there that are, they're trying to make the world better and kind of be that beacon of light, in spite of the fact that they come from negative upbringing, which actually speaks to,
we could probably
speaks to me a
show
lot.
that campaign. Let me
Sure, if you like to.
pull that up.
I haven't looked at it this morning, so
Might be a surprise, huh?
yeah.
It says here you've had 23 people ask for a refund. What?
Good morning. We've got 25 backers. So the 25th backer has just gotten a sketch card. So I will email them here in a little bit, let them know, and thank them for that. As long as they're a physical backer, they have to be a physical backer. I can't really mail out to someone that's not physical. But so that's going to bring us up to the next 25. Boy, pardon me, voice is waking up. At number 50, I'm going to have I've got some issue 5 sketch covers, and I will slide one of those. I'll do a sketch on the sketch cover, sign that thing, and slide that in with the trade paperback on the 50th backer. So
Wow,
yeah,
that's awesome. I'll have to do that when I run my campaign. Hit a certain goal
Slid
and
in.
get an illustration. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all stealing your ideas.
Yeah.
Hey, that is fine. And that's how we build this community.
That's right. That's why we're here.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
why we're here.
everybody can learn from everybody, get an education, and improve your campaigns and what you do.
I could have sworn you were asking for 8K.
I'm asking for 5, but I want to hit 8. It's one of my stretch goals. 8K is a stretch goal. We're going to add 12 more pages to the book if we hit 8. If we hit 10K, we're going to add in. Everyone's going to get that does a physical copy is going to get a copy of our Hybrids of Sons of God role playing game, Quick Play, and so we'll have that for them. And it's also going to open it up to where you can as a special perk, so you can buy more of those. Right now we're doing something for all of our international backers. So, United States Post Office, the rates are going up and international is getting more expensive. And I hate the fact that, it costs me $25 to ship a 25 book across the sea. So here's what we're doing. Anybody that is an international backer, I'm putting extra stuff in there for you. And so you will get little extra perks and thank yous that are just specific to our international backers. Things that will up the value, but they're not going to necessarily up the weight of the package so much to where it's going to bring it into a new shipping bracket. So we've kind of worked that out to where we can do it, and I think that you guys will be happy with that. So anyone that's listening international, feel free to jump on board, and we'll be taking care of you for certain.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
That book, that's a Terraform book. So
that's a Terraform book, baby.
Terraform's first trade. Is the Terraform staff listed in that book? Is there a little small blurb with some staff?
Yeah. There's on our inside front cover. We're adding some information about our Terraform family. How it's the first. Sometimes I call it Terra Family instead of Terraform. Terra Family. The Terrafam. Yeah.
I asked because I am a press whore and will do anything to my name.
You're just you really want to get your name in that, don't you?
Yeah. I'll do anything to see my name in print.
We'll put it real big, like real big letters too. So it's like, Varian Grant.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want me to just put it on the cover? Presented by Varian Grant.
Yeah, Varian Grant
presents. Ooh, fancy.
I think that's why Varian Grant presents. It's fair.
Varian Grant presents.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. I still kind of look when I see when I walk past current comics and I see Stan Lee presents, and I'm like, does he?
Does he?
Steve Farabee says, good morning, raising a cup of coffee to you all. Brian Langley says, I will have a Long Island iced tea.
Oh, man.
Wow, there you go.
Where do you think you are, Brian?
Yeah, that's
a little too early in the morning, but I guess.
Yeah.
That's one way to ruin your day.
Yeah, Long Island iced teas, when you buy them, it was for a while, it was my go-to drink when I would go to a club or something. And then I started noticing the prices were all over the place. Like I could pay as little as, $4 to $5 to as much as $25. And I was like, screw this. However, there was that time I got a Long Island at Wizard World, Columbus, and the guy was like, was it $75, Lola? So it was like $75. And I told him he can keep it, and he got mad because I wouldn't pay for it. I'm like, no. There's no reason why that drink should be $75.
No, I mean, we know convention food is more expensive, but come on.
yeah, $75.
Yeah, no.
No. William Burns says good morning.
He does. William Burns.
Morning, William.
Morning. Marv says if you haven't seen Fallen with Denzel Washington, I recommend it. It's a fantastic movie.
It is a very good movie.
Yep. Glenn Ford says a nice whiskey in the morning is always nice. That's doing it hard.
Glenn's on like a third shift schedule though.
Yeah. Randy, on Tuesday, we had a gentleman that wrote in.
Is that? Oh, it's a cat in the background.
Yeah, I'm in the living room now, so now it's not a parrot in the background anymore. It's a cat. At least the cat won't make you think you have to change the batteries in your smoke detector.
Yeah. We had a gentleman that wrote in on Tuesday, store owner. He wrote in before Tuesday. Tuesday was there's the
parrot.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be awesome if that was the cat. That would have been cool.
And he was upset because he feels like indie creators have turned their backs on comic book stores.
Ooh.
Yeah, and if you give me a minute, I could pull that card back up.
Okay.
While you're doing that, thanks,
God.
Michael Odin, for being the 25th backer of Hybrids, the Sons of God's Trash Day graphic novel.
It was Odin.
It was Odin, man.
Nothing, Odin. You get nothing.
Odin's my boy, man. I love that guy.
He is prohibited from getting any perks.
I promised him a link here in a few minutes.
Okay.
I'll tell you, man. Odin's got a good book too. He's getting ready to go live. So he's already got the Elysian Fields #0, but he's got the Pyramid Gambit coming out too. So man, that's check that thing out. He's really putting a lot of effort into that one. It's a good book. He sneaks some behind the scenes pictures and stuff, things that other people don't really get to see. He sneaks some of those things to me sometimes, and I'm chomping at the bit for that book.
Randy, are you having issues?
I am. I'm still looking for it. I got it here. I'm just trying to call it up.
So do tell. Ben is coming?
Well, he says we have a follow-up to Ben.
Yeah.
Randy said he's coming into the chat. Ben is
no,
coming?
No. He's not coming into the chat. No.
Oh.
I said Michael Oden wanted a link. I told him I'd send it to him in a few minutes.
Oh, I thought we were going to have Ben. I came all excited to come talk to Ben.
No, not going to be
Man,
here.
Ben had us all tight that that night.
Yeah.
I stopped my morning to meet Ben.
Sorry for the disappointment.
I imagine that he was brushing his teeth and saying, "What?"
Yeah,
No, I was advocating, but I stopped. I was like, Ben's coming. I have to drop everything now. Ben, do tell me how it's my fault as a creator who's busting his ass to create new content. How I'm making your store better. Please, Ben, tell me how.
Well, no, here I'll say this. And we haven't I haven't seen Ben's follow up to that, and so, but I want to give Ben the benefit of the doubt. If he is a store owner and things are difficult for him, that can put you in a place emotionally where you tend to lash out sometimes unreasonably at the wrong people, instead of like really pointing his, like what Randy said, talk to the people that have put you in this position, in that rant that we all applauded. And I play back through my head whenever I'm sad. I just play that back and it makes me happy.
I'm having a rough time finding that card.
Well, the funny thing about Ben was that it reminded me of something that JD was telling me. Well, this was a while ago. So it's not just independent creators that retailers like Ben are complaining about. Because JD was telling me about how like some big name artists, like I think it was like Arthur Adams at the time or Adam Hughes, I don't remember who, but they were doing an exclusive cover through crowdfunding. Mm. And, you could only get this cover through the crowdfunding. And there were retailers who were livid because it's like they don't have access to that cover. It's like because the cover was making a lot of money and they were saying, oh, that's a cover that could have made me money. Like that was Adam Hughes's responsibility. Mm-hmm. or whatever artist was doing the covers. Like, dude, run your business. Don't worry about what? Oh, is that Ben? Yeah, that's Ben.
This was the first question.
Okay, I'm glad you found that. I had just pulled it up on a Tuesday show.
Okay, yeah.
I was going to run the video, but that's okay.
Okay.
Ben said on Tuesday, as a store owner, I cringe at shows like this that promote crowdfunding campaigns only. Local comic shops have been life's blood of this industry. Have been the life's blood of this industry. Everyone, YouTubers included, have turned their backs on us. We will not forget who you are, Ben.
It's like, honey, you don't remember us when we're offering our books to you, so don't tell us you won't forget who we are.
I will say this to Ben. I am offering a secret perk next week for all retailers so they can order any of my books at our retailer discount. So if he is interested, he can contact me directly. Go to lukestonestudios.com and fill out that contact form. And I will be happy to send him that secret perk so he can order not just my book, but some other Terraform books too. We can always set it up for him to where he can have some great indie books in there. And I don't know where Ben's at in the world. I don't know if how local he is to any one of us, but we can send some extra stuff over there to really try to help this guy get his, set up some indie stuff. And I've got a lot of other creators we can send his way too to get books. They want to be in his store.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he only wants to deal with one invoice.
Oh, the times are changing.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to
that's
deal.
usually what this complaint is.
He doesn't want to deal with them indie guys. He wants to just deal with the people that Diamond tells him are exclusive solely to Diamond, and just like Daphne said, just deal with the one account because it's so much easier. But I'm not making any money.
Right? Yeah.
I can't understand.
I had mentioned on Lola's show last night that it's like I spent a week calling every comic book store I could find in my tri-state area, in Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Staten Island, Long Island. And if I didn't get like the polite F you, F off, they said, oh no, if you're not in Diamond, if you're not in previews, we're not interested.
Nice.
And
I've
it's
been
like,
told that so many times.
yeah, and it's like, well, okay, but Diamond refuses to carry my book, so where does that put me? So it's like, really, and then you want to complain that you don't have access to indie books? Like, nah, I'm making my money on crowdfunding.
And I will tell you this: if Ben wants, I'll even arrange a special cover for the trade paperback for him.
I even
exclusive to his store.
See there, Ben? Listen to that. Now, I even told Ben, send me your store. It's any store. If you're carrying indie books and, send a picture of your indie books that you're carrying and take a nice picture of your store, maybe you standing outside your store, we will run it on IndieVolt. We will say, hey, this store is indie comics friendly. Go check them out. But you got to let me know you want me to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go find you because you might not want to be on our show. So,
right. Yeah. It's like, no, he'll send a nasty comment, but he won't make the effort.
Right. Ben,
like I said on Tuesday, this really sounds like Ben is lashing out and he's looking for the easiest target he can find to blame for his hardships.
Well, because Diamond doesn't care about him. He can't do anything to Diamond. No. Yeah. So of course he's going to blame it on indie creators who have nothing to do with anything.
Oh, and look at these guys are doing crowdfundings. They're starting to make money. Some of these people are making livings. Some of these people are making more than livings.
Well, Ben reached out,
and it's he's just mad at them. Ben, do you want me to run the second Ben?
Yeah. Ben reached out, and this is his new statement.
Okay.
You guys don't get it. I have witnessed indie creators openly celebrating the demise of comic book shops. Celebrating! Fuck you all! We will remember your names, faces, and creations.
No, you won't. No, you won't.
Because he doesn't know them now. He doesn't know who he has no idea who we are right now.
Exactly. You know what? Then if you see it, it's like if you've seen creators openly celebrating, then go bitch to them. Don't go. Last I checked, we weren't celebrating the closures of local comic book shops. In fact, it's like I had 2 of them open near my house, and we do everything we can to support these guys. I mean, so it's like, no, it's like if you be mad at the people you actually are mad at, not us.
Well, I have to say that we don't speak for every podcast. We definitely don't. There are people out there that can be bitter and angry at retailers already because they were turned away or told to get the heck out of the store. Mm-hmm. Or, we don't want to carry your trash here, or you're not in Diamond. You're not important enough for us to notice. Those are probably the guys that are out there dancing around their little celebratory fires and going, we actually are making some money, thank goodness, because we can't make any at our local retail shop because they throw us out of the store.
Here's the thing. If you're a shop owner and you're a jerk, we're probably going to celebrate when your business closes because you actually bring negativity to this industry and to the fandom. And,
And the whole local community is going to remember you. Every time they walk by your closed storefront, your boarded up storefront, and go, man, that used to be an awesome store, but the owner was a jerk.
Yeah, and Ben and anyone else who's accusing us of doing anything or celebrating, and you're going to remember us. That's okay that you remember us when you're unemployed and working at Target. We don't care because the whole point of us celebrating the bad stores closing is you were the guys who never reached out to us. I guarantee the indie creators out there who have relationships with comic book stores are talking about them. We're not celebrating the good stores closing. We're celebrating those of you who don't get it. You don't get it, Ben. We're comic book creators who are going to the next level. We're going to remember all your stores. And that's why you see less of your stores getting bigger names coming back. Because you never supported people. I can name you 12 stores off the top of my head who actually helped creators in their early career that they constantly go back to those stores, Ben. You fucked up, Ben. So either grow the fuck up, get an education, or shut up and sit down.
Yeah, let me tell you a little story. So there was this shop here in Jacksonville called Gotham City Limits. with an S on the end. The dude was a total jerk. It was about 3 miles away from my house, right? I walked in one time, started talking comics. He talked down to me like I didn't know anything. I mentioned that, that I was a comic book artist myself, was doing stuff, and he was just condescending and just rude and a jerk, right? Walked out of there, started driving 45 minutes to another comic book shop because the only one I could find. Did everything I could to help that comic shop grow. Brought people there, told people about it, did my signings there, did everything I could there. Man, I'll tell you what, it was a great shop. Well, this guy that was just 3 miles away from my house, Gotham City Limits, had to close down. And so this other guy come in, his name is Ben Kingsbury, and he bought the business. No, and
This could be the Ben.
Yeah. No, it's not that Ben. Trust me, it's not that Ben at all. He bought this shop, I'm telling you. And within less than 18 months, changed the name to Gotham City Limit, so that he wouldn't be so closely associated with the other guy. But he bought his pull list and everything. And within a year, he had this business popping. I went in there yesterday, and it was New Comic Book Day. One whole section is dedicated to indie comics. I'm telling you, stuff that you've never seen before, stuff that I didn't know even existed. He's got indie comics all over the place because he understands, and he goes multiple vendors to buy. He buys direct from these people. And that is the future of comic book shops. And that place was packed on a Wednesday when other stores are like, oh, we're failing. And this guy's making money hand over fist.
It's really amazing what you can accomplish when you're not an a-hole.
That should be quoted. That should be on a T-shirt.
Yeah, I think that and Joe D. McPhee says very well said. Thanks, Joe. It's sad. Ben, we don't want you to go out of business, Ben.
No.
We don't want you to go out of business. We want you to do well, but there's a point where we just there's very little we can do if you don't let us in the stores. I mean, look, if you were carrying any books and you weren't making any money, then we'd be a part of the situation. But a lot of these people aren't carrying indie books, and they don't want to carry indie books. I think, like Randy said, your anger is misplaced. You have been, every week, I hate to say this, but every week you're sold a bill of goods. Here's our books, sell them. And you know that the quality is lacking in what you're getting sent. Not all of it. Not all of it's bad, but there's a good majority of it is birdcage liner. Send them to Daphne because she has a bird that could probably use the paper.
Definitely.
And the prices are going up. What is it? $5-$6.99 now. It's ridiculous. So yeah, I understand you getting mad though. You're seeing someone take comics, make money, and you've been cut out. From Indie Vote Radio, Randy, and I want to get into this before my ride shows will take me away to my doctor's appointment.
What's our opening number, by the way?
Opening number right now, we are at 55,400.
Awesome. We appreciate each and every one of you listening in.
But a question a guy wrote in, I know you said you want to get into this, is and this one is from Malik. And Malik says he believes that the major problem in comic books right now is lack of heart, as we say, education and passion. He says that the comic books have been invaded over the last 10 and a half years by people looking to get a movie deal. Failed filmmakers, failed script writers who think comics are the easiest way in. These people come in and bring their toxic belief system with them, and it doesn't jive with comics. He's got a point. There are people who they want to make movies. They realized making movies was going to be expensive. It's not, you can't just go down to your local Target and pick up a couple of Sony handhelds. You could and from a movie. So they're filmmakers, they're people who want to jump into movies, and they want to use comics as a stepping stone. So what they do is they don't really go out there and learn about the history of this industry. So, and then if you try to tell them, then they tell you, I don't have to know any of that. I know what I'm doing. I've been told that before. I don't know. I'm not gonna. I just want to make a comic book. Okay, well, wouldn't it be? That's why I got in trouble for saying this, but I'm gonna say it again. Phil my email full of hate mail, I know, but I respect the tattoo community because they have apprenticeships. You have to kind of, not all of them. Some people just pick up a tattoo machine and they're able to go. But most tattoo artists will take on an apprentice and teach them not just the history, but the proper way of the business, the traditions, things like that. You get people making comics who don't even know who Wally Wood is. It's a damn shame. But they don't have respect for the business, and they come in and they're rude and they're, they just don't belong, and they bring a certain amount of toxicity with them.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Not a certain, but anyway, not a certain amount. They bring all that toxicity with them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what happened is that they're confusing comic book properties gaining traction in media, well, in movies and TV, because comics are media too. They're confusing that with, oh, I have to have a comic to get a movie done. And not only that, but it's like, oh, comics are just storyboards put together anyway. How hard could it be? So it's, so it's like, it's this mentality that I'm seeing way too much of. I mean, it's like, and then what happens is that it bleeds over to the audience, which over the last 10 years I have seen become, I don't know, less educated about comics. So, so they come to your table and they're like, oh, this stuff looks great. It's like, is it a Netflix show? And it's like, no. Oh, and then they walk away. Like it only has validity if it has a larger media presence.
Varian, are you getting ready to
leave? I am. I'm being summoned toward the door. I did want to bring up Steve Faraby's question. It's related to our last thing, but I felt that it was important. I'm sorry, Steve, we didn't see it earlier, but he says, I have been a comic retailer in the past. I tried to promote indie books at the time. My customers were not interested. As a retailer, you have to sell what your customers want. Nobody was more upset than me. I tried, loved everything put out by Caliber, Arrow, Weeby Comics, Aircell, Pacific, and the list goes on.
Wow. Thanks, Steve. You've been around almost as long as I have.
Yeah. Really.
Jesus Christ, that was a half company been involved.
Wait, I bought all those books. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Today, I think people are looking for non-mainstream books now more than ever.
Absolutely.
And Steve, let's hope that's the case. But I'm glad that you were stocking those books and trying to sell them.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're a pioneer, and we appreciate you for that, man.
If you have any of those old tales from the Anniverses sitting around, contact me.
I'll
take them off your hands, Steve.
But yeah, I'm sorry about that. I've seen that, and I didn't want that question to go by without, or that statement to go out without us acknowledging it. But yeah, I got a guy here. You guys can tear into this question about people coming in our industry from other facets, which is great. Hey, if you're a filmmaker wanting to make comics, that's great. Let's take time to learn. And I got you out of here. You guys don't wreck anything.
All right, Varian. You
don't wreck anything.
Have a good show. It'll still be here when you get back.
All right. All right. You guys have a good day.
It might be a burning heap and a mess, but it'll be here.
You might smell smoke when you walk through the door, but it'll still be here.
All right. See you guys later.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Bye.
Good luck. That was Varian Grant. To all of our radio listeners out there, we are not going to have access to those numbers, but we do appreciate all of you out there or your questions. But we will field those questions in upcoming episodes here on Indie Volt. So don't feel that you don't need to send in an opinion or a question on indievolt.com while we're talking. I just don't have access to it right now. Rob, are you still here?
No, I think he's muted. So.
I know he's muted.
No, I'm here.
Rob, do you?
Yeah, I'm just working in the background.
Okay, all right. Well, let's run through these.
I'm here if you need me.
Let's run through these comments real quick and then get back to our points here. Ben Ford says or Glenn Ford says Ben.
Yeah.
Marv's got to go. He'll see the replay later tonight. Great to see V and Rob coming back. Take care. Be safe. We feel the same way. Marv, we hope you're having a good time at work. Glenn Ford says, F this guy. JD, who seems to be waking up. Just too many of those little people to deal with for him. That's yeah. Even if you're in previews, they're not interested.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Glenn Ford says, as a YouTuber, I always promote the local comic shop to go to. I have to say, Ben, and I know you're listening. I haven't seen any videos out there where people are celebrating the fact that the retailers are having a rough time, because anybody that's doing any kind of comic commentary that actually care about comics already know the retailers are having a rough time. And believe me, if we thought that there was a magic bullet or some way to save you, we would do it in a heartbeat. Because, and don't think that we're not appreciative of who or what you've done, or what your branch of the business has done for this direct market. You, quite honestly and sadly, you're the middleman who's getting trounced on in every direction. And again, like I said on Tuesday, you seem to be lashing out at the most vulnerable part that seems to be climbing. And don't do that. You need to go out and you need to straighten out these so-called mainstream companies and your distributor, and get them to get you product that's actually saleable. Just because our crowdfunding campaigns are successful doesn't mean that you can't make money off of us. And in fact, you should be doing that. Don't be afraid to get other distributors. Don't be afraid to go out there and find other outlets. If there's a book out there that you want to sell, there's a publisher out there that'll probably sell it to you at a retailer discount without any trouble. JD says he can't blame his saviors, Marvel, DC, and Diamond. Yeah, they've done a lot for you. And you go back in the history, like I said, on the direct market. All Marvel and DC have done is stepped on you, and all Diamond has done is abused you and tried to drag as much money out of you as they possibly can. Hey, I got a new system for you. You have to be on the system. Why don't you buy our system? Oh, we'll just take it out monthly installments. It'll be good. Well, hey, we got to charge you extra shipping now. Whoops. DC's got to charge you more shipping. Oops. What's up with that, Ben? That's not us. It's a hardship for you. Travis says Voodoo Nations is currently planned to about 25 stores at launch before I start hustling, with 5 store exclusives. Some of the biggest stores in Diamond have shown interest. Absolutely. That's for people that want to go out there and hustle, that have a product that people want to buy. Ben, so you can contact Luke. Luke did the artwork on that Voodoo Nation, or you can contact Travis. Both of them are in Facebook. Just get a hold of them. They'll sell you your book.
Yeah, both of us are more than happy to get Voodoo Nations in there. And I know Travis is happy to get Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies in there, and I'm happy to get Hybrids in there, and Cat Dad and Supermom should be in there. And we've got books, and we could fill your shelves up, man.
Absolutely. Glenn Ford says, "Man, this guy can piss off." Travis again says, comic stores that partner with Kickstarter creators have seen tons of success. And it's not just Kickstarter either. Ben, you can go anybody on any of either of the crowdfunding sites, or you see somebody out there who's an indie publisher that's doing a book. Look at what Samedi is doing with Alterna Comics. He's gathering names. He's looking to distribute directly to you. You just have to take him seriously. And he's even offering a book with a high price tag. He's taking 3 comics and throwing them together into a newsprint book and selling them for $5 so that he can get more story out to your customers. Those products are awesome, and you really need to check into them. In fact, I had an invitation out to Peter earlier to jump in. I really want him on the podcast one of these days to explain his business. So.
One of the things also with Ben, because everything's going to circle back to him, is that if he knows about all these Kickstarters and all these creators, did he even bother to try to contact these people going, hey, I saw how well your Kickstarters are doing, or your Indiegogos. I really do think my customers will enjoy this book. Do you have a retailer discount? Because I can't imagine any creator selling comics anywhere would say no to a retailer.
Yeah. Well, right now, I think Ben is probably like all the other retailers. They're chasing their tail, just trying to get their head above water. Mm-hmm. Because if they're in a state that's closed down, which I guess 48 of them did, he's having to afford a couple of months' worth of rent, his Diamond bill, and everything else on top of that on the stuff that he was selling before all the shutdown happened, and that was not good stuff.
Well, I'll
tell you what.
We're giving Ben more time now than he's ever given us. because
Yeah, that's
a
for
good
sure.
point, Rob.
That's for
Ben
sure.
is not talking about the comics that he is selling. He's talking about the comics he's not selling because he never built those relationships in his local.
It's like from now on, if we ever come across another like crappy retailer, we're gonna go, oh, he's just doing a Ben.
He's just a Ben.
He's just
He's
a
now-
Ben.
Yeah, Ben's going to be a thing now. So here's the thing. Like, so for every
Like,
book that I make,
Ben.
Very well said.
yeah, for every book that I make, I actually try to work in how can I make the cover price work to offer the retailer anywhere between 40 to 60% off. Like, for instance, the trade paperback, it's priced in such a way retailers will get a 55% discount if they buy in bulk. And, so basically you're buying that book at cost.
Bulk being how many copies?
10 or more. And that's reasonable, So if you buy 10 copies, you should be able to go through 10 copies of this because heck knows I'm going to go through a whole lot more than that.
And even if you have a small store, a couple of other buddies out there, a couple other retailer friends, just get together and the 3 or 4 or 5 of you all order 10 books from Luke at that retail discount and just have 2 apiece.
Yeah.
Look at what you're getting. How many? I am pretty sure that the discount rate from Diamond for an independent book is not 55%.
No, it's not.
I think it's probably 45% or so. There's a little bit more profit for you.
Yeah.
Having a bad attitude doesn't help in any way.
Yeah,
Very true,
that's for
Glenn.
sure. Because it's like this guy could have had like the best comic book store, but if that's the attitude that he has when customers come in, I'm not going to go to that store.
Yeah.
So it's like, but then again, it's like someone with that type of attitude, I doubt their store is actually nothing more than an extension of their comic book collection anyway. So
well, until Ben sends us pictures of him selling indie comics, I say we go back to talking about that other topic. Because I do think that's a good topic. The fact that comics are now being used as a jumping point to try to get into Hollywood. I think that's important. I think we're seeing a lot of people leave right now because their intentions were that, and suddenly the pool's dried up.
Well, it's kind of like 2 ways. It's like you have people who are coming in just to use us, just to put their footprints on our back, and then you have actual, comic book artists who's been in here who finding out they can make more money doing storyboards or show running or whatnot. Mm-hmm. So it's like, so we're losing talent, and because they pay.
I'll be honest, I don't know any comic book creator who can do storyboards that leaves comics. They're still here. They're still hustling. They're still making their comics and doing storyboards as a hustle. That's what a true comic book creator keeps it going.
Well, yeah, the smart ones do it both. Yeah.
And I know people. Go ahead, Randy.
Again, it gets into the blood. Once you do your first comic, you decide if you're going to do comics. And doing storyboards is a close second, but it's not doing comics.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at. I think that to discount live action, streaming and things like that as a method to tell your story to a different audience. I think all of us might want to do that, at some point. But when you look at Kirkman, when he's still doing comics. He still goes back to that medium because it gets in your blood. You love it. I'll always be a comics guy. Somebody asked me, they tell the indie guys, you said, well, you really need to work on graphic novels and trade paperbacks and stuff like that. There's no money in floppies for indies. Well, I make floppies because I absolutely love floppies, and I'm going to continue to make floppies. And I don't make as much money on those. I make a lot more money on the trades, but I'm always going to do the floppies because it's in my blood. It's what I love.
Yeah, but sadly, we've seen this, especially with, and I'm not going to call it out, but there was someone who showed up on one of my shows and basically said, well, I just came to comics because I want to make money and I want to make movies. That's the only reason I'm here. The problem with that is he didn't get an education. Mm-hmm. He never took the time to learn about comic books. He put out a comic book and it got reviewed very badly. Every comic book fan was like, what did I just see? Because exactly what happened is he created a storyboard, did not understand the flow. There's a magic that happens between panels that so many creators simply don't understand. It is the number one problem with rookie creators, that they forget that your job as a writer and creator of a comic book is to fill the imagination enough that they make the comic come alive in between the panels. And so many miss that mark.
There's also a really hard skill set that you need to learn when you're doing sequential art that's completely different from any other art form that you're doing. It's different from storyboarding. It's definitely different from just writing because you're writing very visually. I've seen a lot of really high step writers, especially like in the 2000s when Marvel decided that if you're a really good writer, and they still do now, they've called pulled a lot of writers out of the YA market that said, "Oh yeah, you can do a comic. Come on." No,
Ha.
you can't.
No, they can't.
You can't do it well. And you're finding that out with the figures and the numbers that you're getting. Why are your comics dropping? Well, maybe you need to learn and appreciate the art form and get an education like we keep pushing here in order to understand what you're doing. I've seen some great writers come out there who've tried to do comics and they've been clunky and bad and just absolutely terrible. But after a few years, once they sit down and gain an appreciation for the art form and realize what they're doing and how to do it, they get really good. I think Michael Straczynski is a really good example of that because the first couple of Babylon 5 books that he did, comics that he did for DC, were horrible, just horrible, clunky. But now I picked up a graphic novel, or actually a collection, of his Brave and the Bold work that were real short, done-in-one stories that were absolutely, every last story there was a gem. It was an amazing collection that apparently nobody ever saw because Brave and the Bold's numbers, I guess, were really, really low. But the book was incredible.
So I think that it's important to mention, and by the way, good morning, everyone.
Before you speak, Mike, to our radio audience, we're joined by Michael Oden, who does Elysian Fields.
Hey, guys. Luke, I'm backer 25, so I'm looking forward to that sketch card.
Saw that, man. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. But I think that it's important that, like, you have all these people that are coming in here and like, oh, I'm just doing this to get into Netflix or get into Hollywood. A, you don't really make money over there, which makes it a stupid thing anyway. But B, the way that you get noticed by that side of things and the way that you get any good adaptation done is being earnest, is doing something that you love doing and creating something brilliant. You know, Greg Rucka did a fantastic interview, and I know Rob has seen this because he posted it up and was like, hell yeah, good for him, because they just made Old Guard on Netflix based off of his comic book series. And he was just like, when I was writing this, I had like, the goal was to make a good comic book. I could give a shit about anything else because I wanted to make a good book. And, you know, I've been asked by a whole bunch of my friends that have read Elysian Fields, like, yo, when's the anime coming out? And like, I laugh and what have you. And it's really flattering, but like my response has always been the same. I will never say no to an opportunity like that, but that's never been the goal. And that's never going to be my focus. I got in this because I love comics. I've grown up with comics. It's a fantastic visual medium.
Speaking of growing up with comics, Peter Palmiotti
Hey, Peter.
says, good morning to all. Peter, thanks a lot for listening. I've known of Peter for a long time. In fact, we've even worked for the same company at different points in time, though I don't believe I've ever met him in person. But thanks, Peter, for listening. Steve Farabee says Ralph Griffith thinks that there may be room for an independent comic distributor. He and Randy have had a lot of experience in the past. Yeah, we got really close to being a distributor at one point, Steve. It's just that that's a whole nother story that we really don't need to get into right now. But there are other independent distributors that are getting ready to ramp up. So
and that's great.
Keep your eye open. Joe D. McPhee says, what happened to retailer consignments? Most stores I dealt with work that way to test how well an indie book does in a store. Most retailers would be okay with a 50-50 split on sales. And usually whenever I do a book, that's what I do. I take it to the local shop. I drop 3 to 5 copies off and say, I'll come back in a couple weeks. And you can just pay me half cover price of whatever you don't sell.
Well, here's the thing. I did that. Book sold and I never got my money back. Like I never got paid. That's I don't do
thing I'm worried about.
You got to know the retailer when you drop it off, though. You know, and have a friendly enough relationship with him to go.
I only had one store that offered consignment, and it was a store in Brooklyn. I forgot the name, but they said, "Oh yeah, just bring your books over, but just so you know, you got to keep track of everything. We don't do anything with the book. We don't do anything."
Okay.
So it's like,
That's freaking ridiculous.
yeah, I told JD this, and he goes, "Oh, does he want you to run the register too while you're at it?" I mean, what is that? He doesn't do anything with the book. I'm just supposed to take, yeah. I'm
Mike,
pretty new.
Mike,
I'm
you
pretty
froze.
new. This is a compliment. I promise.
Okay.
I'm pretty new to the indie community, and I did my first interview with JD a few months ago, and then he launched the titles and everything. Most recent Indiegogo. Your art is gorgeous. I am so excited. It's one of the next books I'm backing. It's so fun, and I'm really looking forward to getting a hold of it.
Oh, thank you.
JD says Kirkman is a comic creator. It's probably his first love.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys remember
100%.
when.
Well,
Also a story for another time. Randy never stopped. I wanted to clarify. Yeah, Steve, we know what you meant. And also the history of the characters they're trying to write. JMS has and still does fantastic work in comics whenever he can. Yeah. But he bounces back and forth between a lot of different markets. But my point is when he first started writing comics, he quite frankly didn't know how to write comics. And he ended up learning how to do it and gaining he always had an appreciation. He's always loved comics, but he figured out he built up his skills. Even though he's a big TV writer, he didn't just go, "Well, I know what I'm doing. Leave me alone." He's like, "Well, that didn't quite work. Let's go through and figure out how to do it right." And he's figured out how to do it right.
Do you guys remember that run of the Man Thing that R.L. Stein did? Here's an example of bringing someone in. Yeah.
Man Thing.
Yeah, and
and Michael, that's how memorable it is.
Yeah, and so here's an example of bringing someone in because of name recognition. Oh, he did the Goosebumps. This will be good, right? This book was terrible. Yeah. This book was terrible. It had no pacing. There was no character development plot. In fact, most of what took place in that short run was completely out of place from the Man Thing, and it was like recycled and regurgitated jokes over and over again. It was really bad. And Goosebumps is awesome, but here's the thing: you can be a really, really good prose writer, and it doesn't always translate into comics. Yeah. And you can be a really good comics writer, and it doesn't translate into prose.
Well, here's the thing too. If that also is a reflection of the quality of editors they have at Marvel and DC, where it's like that they're just because it's like I remember when back in the day, the editors seem to have more leadership with the books that they were that they were running, where it's like they were comic book artists too, they were comic book writers too, so they knew how the book was supposed to be. So it's just like nowadays it just seems like the editors are like oh yeah that's fine. And they offer no guidance whatsoever to these writers that they're bringing in for the clout, but the clout doesn't mean
now you
anything.
know why DC fired.
Yeah, well,
I was sitting.
Now you know why DC fired so many editors.
Well, that and the amount of money
because
that
it's like, what's the point? Because it's like the weird thing about Marvel, especially because they hired all these YA writers. Like, okay, YA is hot, but it's like it's kind of like the people who read YA are going to automatically read comics because these names are attached to it, and it's like that's not how that works.
I was sitting on a convention panel and had to get up and leave when the editor for the book that they were hawking at the time said, "Editing is like beating a drum." And I'm like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Well, I will say this. Okay, so let's say, for instance, I've worked with a couple of people in the past that they do not like to take the direction of an editor, especially when it comes to story editing. And so
amateurs.
Well, no. So some of these, but you don't have to have a story editor in prose. You don't have to. So like they're bringing over these YA writers. They aren't used to having someone tell them that they need to adapt their story for page count, or they need to adapt their story for pacing or things like that, or hey, this will come across better. They're not used to that, and ego gets in the way. Mm-hmm. So maybe it was for that editor. Maybe it was like beating a drum, because they're working with people that have huge egos that don't want to be told that, hey, this could be better. And
right,
so
but
that could be true. Yeah. That could be true.
And that's actually something that I was going to bring up, was because, and I don't mean to cut you off, Daphne. I found out recently. So since we're talking about the whole DC bloodbath, one of those editors that was let go was Mark Doyle, who was in charge of the Black Label and generally did a pretty solid job. And I found out recently that Mark Doyle was initially the editor on Tom King's Batman run, and Tom King threw a temper tantrum because he didn't like that Mark Doyle was putting so much was effectively telling him, no, this is bad, and was the only reason why Tom King's run was halfway decent for the for the first chunk of it. And when they booted Doyle off is when Batman tailspin down Assholeville and everything went bad. And I think that's a perfect example, is they have allowed the writers and creators to get so full up on their stardom that they're treating these guys like the celebrities. But at the end of the day, it's the editors in chiefs and the editors in comics that really, they're the people that get these final says and make sure that the product is quality. And that was always understood up until the past 20 years, I'd say. Because you'd have all the stories about editors just saying, no, this is crap, this is crap, this is crap. And
speaking of celebrities, of celebrities, we're now joined by John Celeste. Hi, John.
Well, hello.
Hi, how you doing? Hello.
Hey, how we doing?
Hey.
Why don't you introduce yourself to our radio audience, John?
I'm John Celestri, also John the Animator guy. I was an animator back in the last 45 years or so. I animated Boba Fett on the Star Wars Holiday Special. I animated on He-Man and She-Ra, Dragon's Lair and Space Ace, and Rock and Rule, amongst other things. And so now I'm doing my own line of comics. So here I am.
Thanks for joining us, John.
Hold on, I have to do my fangirl dance for a second.
There you go.
Yeah. No, guys, I was about to say, John, I've seen you on here before. John, I've always missed you, man. This is so cool.
John, you're about to start a crowdfunding campaign, or have you already?
Yes. No, I haven't started. September 1st.
Awesome.
That's when I launched my John the Animator comics, and I've got 5 books. All of my own material, my own characters, and so a line for kids from the ages of 4 to 7, and then from 8 to 12. So that's so I'm doing the final prep on my pages and crowdfunding what my perks are, and maybe there's an added perk or what have you, but there's about 6 separate 6 tiers, and but the major tier is an original Boba Fett drawing that I'll do. It's all the same pose, but it's a full size, and you'll be able to see it on my crowdfunding page, and so that's. It's a limited 100 because last time I did 150 and my hand was hurt.
Yeah. Gotta be careful with those original art perks.
What platform is this on?
Pardon?
What platform will this be on? Because
this is going to be on Indiegogo.
Oh, fantastic! I'm looking. You have a pre-launch up.
September 1st is when I'm launching.
Yeah, I'm definitely checking that out. Now, John, did you also work on He-Man and the Masters of the Universe back in the 80s?
Yes, He-Man and
So
She-Ra.
I just got to say thank you, because that, like, I was the hugest fan. I would get up at 4:00 in the morning to watch that show, and I had every figurine that they made. I'll tell you, I friggin' loved that show.
We had John.
It really is amazing how many, but then again, it makes sense because, you grew up with that, and that's what you feel, that was your innocent time.
Yeah.
And that's when you really enjoyed, cartoons and comic books. And we all are talking about stuff. I've been listening for the last hour as I'm trying again, going through my walk, and then putting on a decent shirt, and then making some coffee, with my own mug here, so I can at least understand what you all been doing. And I think an element that is missed with so much, not you all, but I'm just saying, but in this society, people forget that unless you start getting kids interested in comics at an early age, you lose them.
Yeah.
You do.
I call them the seedlings, which is where I'm kind of being the Johnny Appleseed kind of guy. I figure you talk to them without being condescending, reach them and think as they would, and that's what you've got to do, to reach kids, to grow your audience back to anywhere what it used to be. Because comic books have been living on borrowed time for a very long time.
So true.
Yeah, I totally agree. And man, it's just, it's so cool to hear in my mind, a legend tell you that. Pay attention.
Look starstruck. Just
I really am.
The first time I got.
I really am. Yeah.
If I didn't have a naked Christmas tree behind me, there's two paintings of He-Man and Skeletor right there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Legend.
I'm going to be telling my brothers about this, because they were huge He-Man fans, and they had me watch He-Man growing up, and I even watched a terrible 80s movie.
John's got a long list of credits.
Yes, X-Men Evolution, which is amazing. I mean, just amazing work over like the body of work that you've been able to produce. Over the years, it just shows that comics and the kind of the content of comics, it's okay to look at that and to go into areas like animation and things like that, because that is I would not have I was 5 years old in 1985 when He-Man was coming out, right? And so I wasn't really a reader. I started to get my comic books when I was 5 years old, and started at the same time I got into comic books because I got into He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
He-Man was my gateway drug into comics.
There is an interesting thing. He-Man started out as a comic book to be handed out with toys, but that was the prep idea, and that was the presentation. And then they said, well, can we do this as an animated thing, because so on and so, it seemed to lend itself to it. It was basically, a way of reaching out to young kids, and primarily boys, to be able to play with their action figures, But then you have to have stories that people could play with. So there is a certain amount of stimulation. You say, okay, here are the rules of the game. Now you go and do whatever you want with it. And that's what you probably did, right?
It's exactly what I did.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah.
So that's it. But, in being a fanboy like myself, I mean, I got to work with, my first job was at New York Institute of Technology out in Long Island. And that's where Edmund Catmull was starting off and developing what became, Industrial Light and Magic, and then Pixar and whatnot, because that's what animation, for computers was really started to be developed, and it was there. And I was on one side of the campus, and the with the traditional animators, which were all Popeye and Mighty Mouse and Disney animators, who were creating a film called Tubby the Tuba as an experiment to see what is it that needed to be all of the various animation problems a computer would have to resolve to be able to do, to make a film on computer. There was nothing back then. So we're talking 1975 that I was there. And so there are all various things. Anyway, the whole idea, what I was going to say is that when I started, I was 25 years old, I was 25 years old, and I happened to be, working on a scene of Tubby or one of the characters, and I was doing in-betweening, and because it was my first job, I was there for, I like 2 weeks into it, I realized there's a guy, someone's named Boring, who has signed here, but I said, is this the same Wayne Boring who did Superman? Because I could recognize his pencil work on the layouts. Oh, yeah. So I happened to say, I knew, it was Wayne. He was in his room, and so I said, you did Pop-Up, you did Superman. He said, yeah. Well, the next day I brought in my drawings that I did as a 9, 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 13-year-old, imitating his drawings, his style. So we just had a good time, back and forth. And it was like, suddenly it's like, wow, my guy, I really enjoyed Superman. For me, Wayne Boring is Superman for comic books, and the Fleischers are Superman in animation for me. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing about it is I only worked with him for 6 weeks because his job was over with and he was left. But the last day, he summoned me into his room, and he had a desk with an old-fashioned ink blotter on it, and he picked up the blotter and then pulled out a drawing, and he said, "Here, Johnny," and it was Superman. He did a pencil Superman for me, and he said, "Here, you're the only person who didn't ask me for a drawing." and where, let's see here, how can I aim this out? If you see back there on the top, back in the wall there, the top drawing, that's it, that's framed.
Oh wow.
So anyway,
that's so cool.
Everybody is a fanboy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's incredible.
So one of the things that you're talking about is independent publishing. Back in the 90s, my wife and I wrote crime fiction novels, for just regular, for the market, and we self-published them. Back then, nobody wanted you at all. But we managed to get into Ingram and Ingram book distributors, because we were bought up. We had gotten into a small distributor, and they were pilled in. They were bought up by Ingram, so we came in. We were grandfathered into it. So that's how we got into all of the various stores. Barnes and Noble and Books a Million and Records, Books and Records, and what have you. And by the time we were finished, we had done our first book. We got distributed. Then we started to get into reviews. And back in those days, you didn't pay for reviews from the various public, like Kirkus and Publishers Weekly. You didn't pay for them. You just send them in, and they either decided to review you or not. So we wound up getting reviewed, and then we got, as mystery writers, we were accepted as the first self-published authors with the Mystery Writers of America. So, sweet. but that was a window of time when nobody wanted you, because it was all considered to be vanity press. Mm-hmm. And it's a long time. This is very a really good time now for people to be able to do your own thing, because it's no longer got that stigma.
That's very true. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry about being long-winded. I'm just.
Oh, no,
no.
you're
That's,
fine.
that's okay.
Great.
We're too busy with stars in our eyes right now.
Yeah.
I literally just sent a message to my I have a group Facebook chat with like my best friends from growing up, and I'm like, guys, I'm on stream with a legend right now, and I'm like just completely geeking out.
Yeah.
So Snuffy and Zoe, right? It goes live on September 1st. Now, do you have your pre-launch page on Indiegogo set up so people can sign up for the mailing list on that yet?
Well, the thing about it is that this is still all new to me. What I did was I've got the page in review, okay, and for myself, I have posted that link to people on Twitter, and I've had maybe 1 or 2 views, so people don't really know what it's all about. So I had the same situation when I did my rough sketch of crowdfunding last year, which was a portfolio of my work, of animation drawings from the beginning up until with Boba Fett's and Batman drawings and all that whatnot. But so but I decided not to send up one whole page for pre-launch because I didn't have anything to offer anybody special. I didn't have anything that I could do. So why, I didn't think anybody would want it. So maybe next time, I don't know.
Yeah. So the pre-launch, that is like super helpful for like just people signing up for the mailing list so they know when it launches. And I mean, you've got at least 3 huge fans in this room right here who will share the crap out of this campaign. I want to make sure that everyone knows about this because, dude, the perks you're talking about, the stuff you're doing, the work you do. I mean, everything's quality here. I mean, this is exactly what consumers, fans are hungry for. We're hungry for this stuff. So yeah.
When you get ready, when you
Boba Fett tier,
when you launch that pre-launch, sorry, Mike. When you launch that pre-launch page, you need to come back on and let people know.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, okay, we're ready. We're going to go live in in 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks is more than enough time to get a mailing list signed up. It's never too late to launch that pre-launch page.
Now, John, let me ask you a question. I know this is your first crowdfunding campaign. Yes?
The second.
That's the second one?
Yeah.
If you need any help from any of us who have been doing this and know places to go, please reach out to us. We were able to help another creator get into different markets that they're not aware of. IndieVolt's a great place to go. I run Comic Book Advocates. We have Geek Insider that can help you get onto new platforms. That's the point of all of us coming together, becoming this advocating network. And we have your back because we want to see someone like you succeed. Because like you said on the last time you're here, and I will never forget the words you said to us, they've closed the door on you in the one industry that you loved and helped build. So we want to make sure that this door is open for you, and you're more than welcome.
Yeah. For those who don't know, basically in 2000, that was the end for 2D animation. So for the last 20 years, I've been reinventing myself. And so, I've been, basically this is my retirement. This is my third act. So this is what I'm doing for the rest of, until the curtain closes on me. This is the kind of stuff I want to do.
Pixel Trader, who does a great site called IndieCron that lists all sorts of crowdfunding campaigns, says get that pre-launch up stat.
Okay. Well, I can do as simple. I can just do it as simple as that's just the one page instead of with all of the perks, right?
Mm-hmm. No. Actually, so if Rain, if you want to share my screen, I'll just show you real quick what you do. So on your you did. So on Indiegogo, you got your campaign stuff that your campaign editor. But you're going to see that link that says pre-launch page. You click on that, and it's going to bring you into this, and then it goes here to this AB. You just go into that, edit that page. And as you're editing that page, you have the opportunity to add the title, the tagline, and a video, and then you can put a couple of things in there, and that's all you need to do. Okay. You don't even have to you don't have to offer anything special. You just tell people what your perks are, like a hint at what some of these perks are going to be. You don't have to offer free shipping. You don't have to offer anything special because I'm telling you, we're going to be tripping over ourselves to back this project. If you do that and you get that URL out today, I know that I'm going to blast it on Twitter. I know that probably everybody else here will blast on Twitter too, because I want people to know about this. This is going to be awesome.
And Pixel, if you want in on the conversation, please PM me through Facebook. I will happily send you a link. You're welcome to come on here and talk John directly if you'd like.
Yeah. And so what will happen is people will be able to sign up for a mailing list, and then you'll get these address. You'll see over here on the corner where it says collected email addresses. I've got, you'll be able to collect those email addresses and then send out messages to them about your campaign as soon as it launches.
Right.
I mean, that's vital, because these people are going to want to know, and they don't want to forget.
Right. Well, so what I was doing, and I'll do. I'm definitely going to do that. That's this afternoon's job. I've been just gathering up the addresses from my previous, last year's crowdfunders. I did both Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So I'm putting together. There's about 150 email addresses from that. So I'm putting that together to send out. So, but this is something for new people who don't know about me. So yeah. Okay. All right. Well, listen, I'm at Celestri John. So follow me, so at least, or DM me, so that I know who I can talk to when I say, okay, this is an old man who just did something bad. I know how to sharpen my pencil, but please, what did I screw up with?
Don't feel bad. This is the first time I'm hearing about launch pages too. Like I've heard of them, but I never understood what a launch page was. There we go. Everyone's getting educated today.
Well, separate things. See, that's the thing, is that I wanted to put all my effort into what I was going to be able to say before I did a launch page, because I didn't know, I didn't want to put something on there that I wasn't going to have. And so it's kind of like sometimes you have to be able to write your log line. You need to write the entire, script first before you can say what it's all about.
Yeah, and John, if you just reach out to Randy, he knows how to get in touch with all of us, and Randy can coordinate any piece of help you need.
Yep.
He's part of IndieVolt. He does an amazing job. He's definitely someone who can work with you on this, and if he doesn't know it, he'll go out of his way to make sure to find out for you, and he'll get that answer to you in an hour.
Okay. I'll get to the kid too. I'll get to Randy the kid.
That's Varian. Yeah, he's talking about Varian.
No.
Yeah, you're welcome to contact us anytime, John. Literally, on any no matter how silly or whatever. We'll be real happy to help you out as much as we can.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Pixel says he's just waking up. He's not sure if he'd be good live. Up to you, Pixel. we also appreciate your input. Pixel's had a lot of experience with crowdfunding campaigns, and runs his site really well. So
okay.
Go ahead.
I will answer any question you want. I mean, I'm just curious about how you all reach your readers and your age groups, and what you all think about, how can you get kids into this, new readership.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because that was kind of like the thought process I was trying to put together before, when we were talking about the young adult authors being brought into Marvel, is that Marvel's bringing in like the young adult authors without really thinking about like the environment that they're bringing them into, as opposed to the environment that they came from. Because they're bringing in these people thinking, oh, they're big names, we're going to have crossover, and it's like I've never quite seen it work that way. Because young adults who are reading their novels don't necessarily know anything about comic books. And what I was noticing with Marvel is that they just wanted that to be a one-way street. They wanted people to just follow these authors over, as opposed to making a product with these authors specifically for that environment that they were coming from. Like these books, it's like, well, it's almost like they were like, well, your novels sell in the millions. How come your comic didn't sell in the millions? Well, because you didn't market to those millions. Instead, you're trying to market these young adult authors doing comics to people in our environment that are not really interested in that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, so it's like they're trying to sell these books to people who it's like, well, that's not the market. It was just,
And also,
Go ahead.
and also, I think we forgot to write kids' stories. I think we forgot to make Batman approachable for children. I think we
right,
forgot to make
yeah.
Spider-Man approachable. I mean, I created a book about Cat Dad and Supermom. I guarantee you I'm going to have readers that read that book. They're going to follow me into their 20s. They're going to follow me into their 30s now. I'm establishing a fan base like you did, John. There are people in this room who heard your name, got excited. We don't have that right now.
Right.
But you have these creators now like Scott Snyder and all them who are going back trying to reinvite the children and the younger adults into comics the right way, not by trying to just get them to watch movies and come over and buy all the back issues, but giving them new content that they can get excited about. We did this wrong thing at one point. We chased millennials. We should have never chased millennials. We should have kept up writing comics for everyone, and we stopped writing them for everyone.
Well, that's the funny thing. I don't think Marvel was chasing. I just think that they just hoped they would show up, because it's like.
So the content got a little too sophisticated for an all ages audience. They deliberately went into certain things that kids would not connect with. Especially teenagers. Being told who to be is the worst thing you could do to a teenager. That's why Spider-Man used to work, because they weren't telling Spider-Man who to be. And when they were, it was pissing Spider-Man off. So younger readers got excited about that. This was a teenage superhero. And now this teenage superhero keeps getting forced into these arguments that don't make sense to teenagers, that they don't want to have in high school, that they're now reading about in comic books, instead of just kicking ass, telling a great story and being entertained. Because that's why we go to comic books, to get rid of the high school drama and to get into a world where we can just get immersed and forget about the bullies we deal with on a daily basis.
Not to be constantly reminded of it every book that we pick up.
Yeah, I think
the big thing with the direct market is that they really channeled down to a set demographic and decided that that's where all the money was, and really ignored all of the rest. So you had entire generations now of female and kid readers that have grown up without it, and then they wonder where their audience has gone. And in order to try to get that back, we'll just grab this YA novelist here, and we'll bring all them back. Well, there's for me, in my opinion, that's why manga is as big as it is now, is because the audience wants to read comics. They don't care as long as it's entertaining and they can read it and get lost in the story. So if it's manga, that's where they're going to go. Boom, manga sales jump. But Marvel and DC can't do that because they've been hitting that same demographic over and over and over again. And then Dark Knight and Watchmen happens, and it's like, all you guys just want realism. Let's just do that. Boom.
Right, yeah, they just go from one extreme to another. Because like I told JD this once, I was like, I think like the one thing that I hate the most about mainstream Marvel and DC comics is how self-aware they are. It's different than being topical. If you want to be topical is one thing, but it's like, instead of writing a story, they're writing according to how people are reacting on Twitter. And it's like, well, if you're writing as the moment goes, you're not writing a story. You're just writing a reaction. So it's like, I can't imagine how good a story would be if that's all you're doing.
Being topical is good for an editorial page, but I mean, you're not doing something on a weekly basis that people, even if you're going to be topical, that's for newspapers. That's what comic strips used to be. Walt Kelly doing that. That's a different audience and a different need. Our comic books today, if you're going to get an audience, write evergreen material that every child who is going to be experiencing for the first time will relate to it. Because kids Well, there's a certain point where you go from, as you're becoming aware of what the world is, you're still, as a human being, experiencing certain things, and you are awakening to certain things. And what you do is you address that with your material. You know, you can you could do it in many different ways. You don't have to do old time stuff, and it could reflect, you know, maybe just a different sense of style or personal. But you're still talking about adventure, wonderment. Who's this? You know, going out and there's conflict. Well, why is there conflict? You don't. There's no message involved in giving a child. If you're talking about getting someone used to reading and watching or reading a comic book, you're giving them something that they could say, wow, what's going to happen next? And you turn the page. And visually, that's what drives people to turn pages. It's the visual, not the words, because okay, I can put a dog ear this here, and I'll come back to it later. No, I got to find out what's going on. That's why, you know, there's a whole style of how to flow from one page to another in a way that it demands you to turn it. And I don't know that they have that, not with dialogue. You know, and also the sizing of imagery today. Maybe I'm incorrect, but with manga, the drawings are different. They are not just, you know, they're not small in terms of panels. You know, they do whole things, but there's a lot of action and fancifulness happening. You know, whereas you can go forever, you know, on a Batman book and just talk about and see them get closer, Catwoman getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer, and then maybe you turn the page and then they kiss. You know, I mean, you know, there is just something that they're just milking the pages instead of filling the pages.
Yeah.
You know,
I think part of the reason why we don't have young readers anymore is because we're not really catering towards young readers.
Yeah.
And the books that are almost and here's the problem, they get put on the end of the shelf towards the bottom, and no one gets to see those when we should be celebrating those books, because we need those young readers. And that's why we need books like Cat Dad and Supermom that Rob does. And, you know, and that's why I tip my hat to Peter Samedi with the, I think I've heard him say throwaway entertainment. I don't like that term because I don't think comics are throwaway, but I think there needs to be a lower price point where kids can get in, where they can do their chores and they've got a couple of bucks and they can afford to go to the comic store and buy a couple of comics and not just one of them, you know. And so that's even something that we're doing with Terraform Comics. We're looking at how can we make a reader version of all the books that we do, where people can get a hold of them at a lower cost. And it has to be a plan. And I think that the industry, the mainstream and the independent industry, has to start working together, knowing that we have to get new readers. And those new readers have to be young readers. We have to get them when they're young and help them fall in love with it, or else this medium will die.
Yep. Mark Bloodworth says, John Celestri, you've crystallized my thoughts eloquently. Mark, you are always welcome here on the chat. Just drop me a line whenever you want a link, whenever you see us live. The door is always open for you. Buddy Joe D. McPhee says, I have to run. This has been a great show. We'll add this to my listen for Shop Talk. Hope to be a part of the show someday too. Here too, Joe. Just stay in touch. So let us know what you're doing. We want to see it. Pops, I don't mean to ignore you. You've been in the chat this whole time talking about how he has his 7-year-old creating characters for his book. So he dropped a link for what he was doing, the www.indiecrowdfund.com, and better get educated about the new one. LOL. About the new ones in general, probably. Yep.
Oh, I just want to say hello to Pops if he's still in the in the chat, because he invited me to his Facebook group, and I'm just having a blast there.
Yeah. Pops is an awesome cheerleader for comics.
Yes, he
all
is.
Kinds of comics. So.
I mean, it literally made me rethink how I'm doing my social media presence.
Okay.
Like, yeah, it was just a completely different environment than I'm used to.
There's a lot to do and a lot to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you can stay away from all of the drama.
Well, that's why I'm
yeah.
seriously thinking dumping Twitter. That's why. I mean,
Yeah.
it's seriously, because it's like that's where all the drama comes from, is from Twitter.
100%.
And and it's like I don't get, ever since I got on Pop's forum, on Pop's place, it's been showing me that it's like, is Twitter really worth the effort?
Right.
I mean, really.
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because JD says that it's like, like on Twitter, it's like I'm hanging out with the mean girls and trying to get their attention when they could give for, rats, whatever. And then I go on Pop's thing, and everyone is like, "Hey, how you doing? Oh, love your stuff, love your stuff, love your stuff." And it's just like, wow, this environment's a little different.
I think it depends on who you follow and who follows you too on Twitter on what that's like, because I've recently done some cleanup and added some new people, and Twitter's quite a pleasant place right now. So
yeah, no, I had to really do some major cleanup on it.
Yeah. There's some people you just got to clean off of there. I've had to do that on Facebook too. There's like just the regular news feed, but yeah, Pop's group is it's what happens when people have fun with comics, and that's really what it should be. Shouldn't we all get back to having fun with comics and stop arguing over the politics and all that stuff with it? Just
right, and then not only that, it feels like everybody wants each other to succeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's, it's like they want you to feel good about your work, and they want you to succeed, and they want you to know that they're enjoying your stuff, as opposed to pretty much being ignored on the other place.
Yeah. Randy says it all the time. Yeah. Randy says it all the time, that there's room at the table for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But there's some people who just act like, no, if it's not me, it's definitely not you.
Yeah. We call that the crab bucket technology mentality. That's the other crabs in the bucket trying to grab the other crabs down, when really we should all be out there working to lift everybody up, because if we lift everybody up, everybody starts making more money.
Right. No, and then it's like, and then it's like you have the crabs that make it out of the bucket, and they're looking down, and they're like, "Oh, sucks to be you." Yeah. Instead of helping to get the other crabs out, they're like going, "Oh, I got mine.
Yeah.
What do I need to help you for?"
Peter says Twitter is best to share both your own projects as well as friends, not to get bogged down by nonsense.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard. I do a lot of cleanup on Twitter, and it's just like
that's very true, Peter.
Yeah.
And speaking of crab buckets, this week's Devil's Advocate is going to be about the crab bucket. Society and wannabe advocates are the cancer in comics. Putting politics first is the problem.
Shameless.
That's
shameless plug.
Shameless.
Yeah.
Of course.
Peter, I deeply appreciate you being in the chat today and listening. We would love to have you on the program anytime you would want to come on and talk and share. We'd love to have you here, Peter. So appreciate you very much. Anyway, sorry for that pregnant pause. We are starting to wind down on our show, so we're passing that hump, and we really want to cut it in just under the 2-hour mark, so that we don't have a problem with YouTube or anyone else. So,
I do want to make one. While I was on my walk, I noticed you were Daphne. You were talking about tattoo artists. Who was talking about tattoo artists?
Luke,
yes, that they
Luke, you're
get
talking about getting how there was an apprenticeship.
Apprenticeship, that's the word.
No, that was
Varian.
Oh, no,
I think Varian was talking about
that. Was Varian.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, that's like being old school the way I learned animation, and that was, and that where it used to be, where even with comic book artists would be that you'd go into a studio. You'd start, you'd be erasing stuff. For me, I learned by, I was doing, in-betweens of drawings. I mean, you work with a team with another animator or with an assistant, and you'd learn from them that way. You'd work your way up so that you learned how to think like that process into, like an in-betweener was someone who did all the unnecessary drawings, the fill-in drawings, but then you learn to be a cleanup artist and be an assistant animator who would have to pull all the technical aspects of the exposure sheets and making sure that you understood what the rough drawings look like, that the animator did it. So there were all these things. And so what you're talking about with being with a tattoo artist, at least you have somebody who is there and you're watching. You're not just doing it in class on a I don't know unsupervised. You get a one-to-one thing, so tutoring, and then you start making mistakes, or I'm in the wrong pieces. Don't this is your process. Practice it here, and you're there, and you can experience it without before hanging up your shingle and saying, I've got a marker here, and I've got the tools. I was going to start doodling on your arm or what have you.
And in hanging up your shingle, in most states, the tattoo artists have to be licensed. They have to show the state before they open up their own shop that they not only know what they're doing, but know how to do it right, know how to do it healthily, so that they're not in there making a mess of everything and literally wrecking the entire industry by their reputation.
Well, it sounds like comic books.
Unfortunately,
right
comics doesn't have something like that. So.
Yeah. We try to do that though. I mean, there's a few of us. I'm sorry, Daphne.
Go ahead. Because it's like it's on one hand it's excellent that we don't have gatekeepers, but on the other hand it's like, oh, we could have used a little fence maybe.
Yeah. Well, I think it's different than a gate, and that's the thing. We label that a gatekeeper all the time, and we shouldn't do that. Those are advocates. Those are people that can help us understand like the process better. I mean, how many people come out with their first book and it fails? And I mean, I don't want to do that. If there's a way that I can learn to do better, I want to do it.
There's a huge difference between mentoring, advocating, and gatekeeping.
Gatekeepers
are the ones trying to keep people down to the benefit of themselves. They're almost like those crabs in that bucket again. Where mentoring are people actually trying to help people to make the other person better in expressing their knowledge or giving them critiques or whatever. So
I've been doing this for a long time, and definitely not as long as John, but I've been doing this for a long time. Not as long as Randy either, but I've been doing it for a while. And I saw Michael come out with his book, and I was like, man, this has got some really solid things in there. Okay, and so if I wanted to help Michael get to where, like, to be successful, and to be really honest, his first campaign has been more successful than all of mine. He got more than 300 backers, and he raised what, $10,000?
A little shy. We hit 8,829.
Well, still, that's more money than I've ever raised on any single campaign, and it's more than I've raised in some of my campaigns combined. And so I don't have any jealousy at all. The fact that here's this guy that I've tried to help give some advice to that was successful. I'm happy that he was successful, and I'm like, well, who did you talk to get those kind of numbers? Let me figure out what I'm doing wrong. To like, what can I do better to get those?
And again, going back into that whole thing, you get from it what you put in, and Luke. Without Luke, I would be here, and I am like, Luke and I talk all the time, and I am forever grateful for everything that Luke did for me. And as much as it's my book, I consider it Luke's as well for that zero issue, because he was our letterer, and he did a fantastic job. And so, like,
Mike, you were getting ready to learn how to letter it yourself, and I'm like, don't do that. I'll what's your budget? I'll letter the book for you, because it's too good to mess up with amateur lettering.
Yeah, exactly. And so I want I wanted to pay that back. And so, like, Luke was asking, he's like, hey, who all did you talk to and everything? And like, within I got him in touch with all the people that I had that I got in touch with, and the whole indie community should all be like that.
Yep.
There shouldn't be this whole division kind of deal where it's just, you have somebody that's had a campaign and they see something with potential and they see something with promise, and they see that the person might be having a little bit of a rocky start, and it's probably just because they've never done this before. And so you reach out to that person and you say, hey, I've been there.
And I also want to point out that we're forgetting the most important barometer. That's the fans. Comic books have forgotten about the fans. It comes to them. It stops with them. They are our gatekeepers, if there are any gatekeepers. And the people trying to put up gates need to remember that. But we do have to wrap up, so I know Randy wants to go around the room right now.
We do. Rob, did you put the link in the chat for hybrids?
I did. We're good.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Anybody out there listening or that's watching the YouTube channel, we just put the link up for the hybrids that's on Indiegogo, and I'm sure Luke will talk more about that as we get to him.
You actually put the link up for the old campaign that's still running, where you can get the floppies.
Sorry, dude. I'll fix it now.
No problem. If you want to buy those too, I'm more than happy to sell them. Yeah.
Put all the links up.
He'll have that fixed by the time we get to you, Luke. John, let people know where they can find you.
Well, right now, the best way is I am on Twitter at Celestri John, but I'm also that's the best place right now to get me. So
okay. Do you want people to contact you on Facebook or not?
You can contact me on Facebook. Just say where you that you're a comic book artist and not some bride, mail order bride from Russia.
I hear you. And your campaign's going to start September 1st.
Yes.
You're going to have a pre-launch page up as soon as you can get it up, probably 2 weeks or so. Yep, as soon as you can. And we'll have you back on more to talk about and show off that campaign.
Okay.
I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. We're all excited about it, John.
Thank you.
Michael, where can they find you?
They can find me at Facebook under Michael Oden, or you can also find me at the Nine Realm. If you look up Nine Realms Publishing, and you can also find me on Twitter at ElysianFields_0. And we have the pre-launch campaign of the Pyramid Gambit up on Indiegogo. So please get on that. Signing up for that mailing list gets you an exclusive pinup with any of your physical tier purchases done by the great Joe Tolliver, who is part of the Comics Cast Network.
Michael, can you put that link in the chat? Right, please do.
And so we'd love to have you guys come check us out, and we've got a great book coming for y'all. And thanks so much for helping us get there on the first.
Luke Stone, how can people find you?
Yeah. Go to lukestonesvideos.com. And on there, you can find all of my social media stuff, my Twitter, my Instagram, and all those things. You can actually, at the top, even find a link to that new Indiegogo campaign for Hybrids, the Sons of Gods, the Trash Day arc, the graphic novel, which is live now so we got another 29 days going on that. And so all of our international backers will get a little extra in there because I know it's expensive to ship over there. So we are going to put a little extra in the pot for you guys, and we're really looking forward to kind of getting this book into people's hands. If you like comics from the 90s, that throwback 90s kind of fun action comics, well, I think you're going to like this. I think you're going to like it a lot. So going on over there, you can go to lukestonestudios.com, find that link at the very top, or you can go over to Indiegogo, follow the link that's in the chat or in the comments, and follow that. Go right over there, and I look forward to connecting with you guys. Thanks.
Sweet. Daphne, where can people find you?
Yeah, well, if you're interested in furry fantasy looking like if Disney did Lord of the Rings, you can find my work at talltalesonline.com, where you can read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free. And if you also like to watch art tutorials and video comics and art supply unboxings, you can also find me on YouTube at Daphne Lage Art.
Fantastic. Rob, where can folks find you?
You can find me in just a few minutes here on Indie Volt doing the news. I'm all dressed up, got the tie on. We're going to talk some news. Brought to you by Indie Volt, Geek Insider, and Comic Book Advocates. Everyone's always welcome to join us, especially the panel today. Come tell us about your news. Randy, where can they find you?
Let me switch back over here. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter. Under Twitter, I'm at Randy Zim. On Facebook, I'm under Randy Zimmerman. You can find me at the Zim Geek channel on YouTube. That's ZIMMGEEK, where I put up cartoon instructionals as well as commentary about comics and the history of comics, especially. Love the history of comics. Also, I'm here on Indie Volt, and we'll be back on. Let's see. This is Thursday. We'll be back on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. And we will also be back on here Thursday morning at 9 a.m. again for the Breakfast Buzz. And I'm scrolling up here and stalling for time and to let you know to feel free to send us any email or comments to IndieVoltLive at IndieVolt.com. Please include IndieVolt Live in the subject line. And please keep your emails to 90 words or less so that we can type it on a card and we will discuss it in a future podcast. And remember, no question is too silly. No question is too serious. We love to hear feedback from anybody out there, especially our Indie Volt radio listeners from all around the world. And remember, our feedback will be better because of your setback. Hashtag get an education. Hashtag Indie Volt. You could also find Indie Volt on online, indievolt.com. That's where the majority of people listen to us from. You can get to that from the Streama app. You can ask Alexa to kick up indievolt.com, and she will be happy to do that for you. You can get the app on Google Play. If you look around, there's a lot of other different places that we can find that you will find Indie Volt. The Indie Volt also streams a TV channel on the Roku box that has all sorts of movies and wrestling programs, and some of our other videos are available up there as well. And you can also find us on the YouTube channel, Indie Volt YouTube channel. Please, if you at all can, even if you don't listen to us on YouTube, jump over there and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications, because we pop in and out on the Indie Volt channel, and you never know when we'll start another program. In fact, I hear there's a rumor that we might be starting a 9 a.m. program on Sunday called Sunday Funnies that might be starting up incredibly soon, maybe even this Sunday. So stay tuned for that. Other than that, I think that is it. Did I miss anything that you know of, Rob?
The Devil's Advocate on Sunday at 9 p.m. And
we did, and I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Missed the Devil's Advocate at 9 p.m. You already did a shameless plug for that.
I know I did, so
Yes, you did.
We're good.
Rob does a great program up there. We also have another artist stream that we are currently thinking about relocating called The Art of War. Normally that was on Fridays. We're not sure if that's where that's moving or going to. And it's closing up here. We are closing in on that 2-hour mark. I want to thank everybody for being part of the panel, everybody that was in the chat, everybody out there listening. We deeply, deeply appreciate you. I'm sure Varian would say his final goodbyes if he could, that you can find him on Indie Volt. You can always contact him through indievolt.com. Again, we deeply appreciate you all. We're also on the Geek Insider Facebook group right now. We deeply appreciate anybody listening from there. Thanks again for listening. Any parting words, anyone?
Just try to leave the woodpile a little higher than you found it.
And I'll see you next.
Rob's coming up here in a few minutes. Actually, half an hour, right? And he's muted. Anyway, Rob's probably coming up in a half an hour with the news.
As soon as you go off.
You go on as soon as we go off.
Yeah, we're trading off.
Okay. All right. There will be a little back room talk, except for Rob, who's going to start another StreamYard. So we'll see everybody soon. Everybody, please stay healthy. Take care of yourself. Like Luke said, leave the woodpile higher than what you found it. And here I am fishing for our closing, and I should know exactly where that's at, and I don't. We've got way too many cards on here. There it is. Everybody, please. Nope, that's the opening. Everybody, please. That would have been great. Everybody, please take care. Stay healthy. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Ciao.
See ya, guys.